This plan and reporting on progress is how we are going to mobilize, first of all, ourselves, Member States and EU institutions. So that is why the roadmap is about delivery planning and about delivery of flagships. What we are creating with the roadmap is European self-sufficiency in defence. Self-sufficiency in defence means independence, as Commission President says. Self-sufficiency means our own capacity to produce enough, our own capacity to modernize defence production, and our capacity to finance European production and growth of European defence industry. Flagships are an exercise to implement pan-European defence projects. Till now, only in space, we have good experience to implement big pan-European high-tech projects, like Galileo or Copernicus. In defence, there is no such an experience. That makes us weaker. So that is why we shall go through what I call learning by doing process. I am sure that this time we shall be much more successful than previously. European Drone Defence Initiative and Eastern Flank Watch are the projects which can be started immediately in order to learn how to create success. They can be realized together with Ukraine, and I am sure that other two flagships, European Air Shield and Space Defence Shield, will be also a real success. Ukraine defence deserves our support. The roadmap has a very important promise: reparation law to be realized before the end of 2025. And Ukraine is ready to help us with its know-how and battle-tested experience. We are building European Defence Dome together. In building the European Defence Dome, we need to overcome fragmentation of European defence industry, and we need to spend taxpayers' money in the most effective way in order to strengthen European defence industry. As an example, incentivization for joint procurement can cut prices for defence production by 30%. The plan is to increase joint procurement from 20% to 40% by the end of 2027. Taking into account all defence investment up to 2035, it can save up to 200 billion euros for national governments and taxpayers. Or incentivization to spend more defence money with the European defence industry can bring back, with each additional 10% spent in Europe, an additional 150 billion euros spent with our defence industry, which otherwise would be spent in third countries up to 2035. Now, I would like to remind, we are spending only around 40% in Europe, and we want to increase this up to 55%. So there are also very ambitious goals on military mobility and single market in defence equipment, which are crucial for development of military readiness. And in conclusion, implementation of the roadmap is giving a very heavy tasks and mandate to Commission, other EU institutions and Member States, which will demand huge efforts on our side to deliver. And I am sure that we shall deliver Defence Readiness 2030. And I hope that Council will support our ambition to build European Defence Dome.
Thank you very much to the three of you. We now have time to take your question. Let's start here with Angela.
Angela Skujins from TVP World, Poland's public broadcaster. I'm really interested in the Eastern Flank Watch and the European Drone Defence Initiatives. What will these projects actually look like? What technology will be used? Who will be involved? So I can explain it to our viewers in Poland. Thank you.
Well, both projects have origin in activities of Polish and Baltic states governments, before even all those provocations which now triggered all the interest in the projects. And both the governments from the region were appealing to us back in July of this year, describing very clearly the concept of Eastern Flank Watch. At that time it was called Eastern Border Defence Shield, perhaps, or something like that. And this project has two major components. One is what I would call ground wall, how to build all the counter-mobility measures on the ground, like anti-tank trenches, like so-called Dragon Ts. In some countries now there are discussions about recreating swamps and marshlands on the border, in order really to create all the counter-mobility obstacles for enemy's tanks or heavy technique. From another side, the countries are also looking into possibilities to develop what we called at the beginning drone wall, in order to be ready to defend themselves against any possibility of drone attacks or drone provocations. And also learning how to use drones in order to hit the targets on the ground. Now, what we have seen from those provocations which recently had happened, that unfortunately, or that's a consequence of let's say, not taking into account how the war doctrines are changing in Ukraine. Till now, we had very limited abilities to detect drones, and also limited abilities to destroy drones with cost-effective measures. So what is needed to be done here, really, we need to start to invest into, first of all, into detection capabilities, both in frontier region, but also in the countries which want to develop such capabilities in order to be ready to defend themselves against any kind of provocations. And then also we need to invest into capabilities to destroy drones in a cost-effective way, with anti-drone interceptors, with electronic warfare means, and also with classical Zenit artillery or machine guns and mobile groups. A lot of things we can learn from Ukraine. There are countries which are moving ahead. Recently I visited Latvia and I saw how successful they are starting to build the whole network of acoustic sensors in order to be able to detect drones. So there are experiences, there are different, different companies which are producing exactly equipment which is very much needed, and I see all the possibilities really successfully to develop this project, and during next year to have at least sufficient implementation of that project in the countries which want to be part of those two projects.
Thank you. Andrew.
Thank you. Andrew Gray from Reuters. Can I ask about the financial aspect here? There doesn't seem to be any price tag on any of these projects. So do you have any estimates of how much these are going to cost? And where is the money going to come from? I take the point about safe and national budgets. But if we compare to the COVID crisis, which some people sometimes do, including on this podium, when we look at the response to this crisis, is the message from the Commission that when there's a crisis in Southern Europe, there's free money not to be paid back, but when there's a crisis in Eastern Europe, it's loans and you'll have to pay it back?
Well, I will not discuss about the messages, but I will tell you what is our vision and our plans. First of all, definitely we need to have those capability coalitions and flagship coalitions to develop much more clear technical concepts. What is needed to be done in each of those projects, especially when we're talking about flagships. Then we shall be able to also evaluate the cost. I can tell, for example, about now drone wall, or how it's called, European Drone Defense Initiative. That's the same countries which I was talking before, Poland and 3 Baltic states. Once they were appealing to Commission earlier in July, they put some kind of concept note and they put evaluation of this, chapter on drones, with detection, with management of information, of data, and also with anti-drone capabilities. And for those 4 countries, they evaluated that it will cost around of 1 billion euros. So just for us to understand that we're not talking here about hundreds of billions. But definitely, more precise evaluation will be available when we shall have much more clear concepts. Now, second, really, on financial side, I said deliberately, because I was expecting such a question, that, what I call big bank and finances are starting to appear. During next 10 years, we are going to spend 6.8 trillion euros for defense. For equipment, it will be more or less if we are taking some kind of NATO standard from 40 to 50%, it will be 3.5 trillion euros. It's a big amount of money. The question, how we can use those money earlier than later, it's of course a rational question. But for the time being, we need to look, first of all, how we are using those instruments which are available at the moment. So first of all, of course, safe loans. Member states can start to use those money now in order to develop some of the regional projects, for example, Eastern Flank Watch. Then there is also possibility to reallocate unused and spent cohesion funds and RRF funds. So those are some of them are grants. I can tell you that now, at least what we hear from other services which are taking care about RRF money, there are 300 billion unspent RRF money, and out of that, 100 billion is grants. And member states need till end of this year to review their RRF plans, and they can put those money into defense. So those are possibilities which member states can use in a most effective way.
Thank you, Commissioner. David.
Thank you. David Carretta, Radio Radicale, Italian Radio. I don't know who to ask, but basically on the concept of European Defence Dome, the French President, Emmanuel Macron, in Copenhagen was quite clear, saying that it wouldn't be enough to protect Europe, because we need deterrence, and deterrence means also long-range missiles, basically the possibility and the capacity to respond to an attack. I'm wondering if this concept that you are putting on the table, so a shield in the space, a shield in the air, a wall for the drones, if this is enough as deterrence, or European countries should also be able to respond in a more forceful way if attacked. Thank you.
EVP, HRVP?
I can just say my own opinion. I do not see here any contradiction. Because, well, yes, we are saying that our goal is to build our defense capabilities in order to deter. Now, what does it mean, the defense capabilities? It's definition of NATO. NATO is giving all the member states so-called capability targets. That was agreed during NATO summit in Hague. The previous ones were agreed back in 2021. As NATO Transformation Commander Admiral Pierre Vandier said, that new targets are by 30% bigger than the previous ones from 2021. Those are the lessons from land lessons from Ukraine. But the previous ones, unfortunately, we Europeans were not able to implement also by 30%. That is why simple arithmetic is saying that we're at 50% level. But defense capabilities defined by NATO should have, and I hope that it has, all the needed means, including deterrence by possibility, by availability of such weapon system which can be used in order to hit the targets on the territory of enemy, and so-called deep strike precise targeting capabilities, which we, unfortunately, in Europe, we are not producing enough of them, and that is why we need to develop production of those capabilities. And of course, for the time being, we shall continue to procure them from our transatlantic partners or South Korea, which are producing those capabilities.
Thank you. EVP, please.
Yes, maybe I would like to remind also about missiles, and it was clearly one of the critical capability gaps that was identified also in our defense white paper. But now in this proposal, in our roadmap, now we have focused to these 4 areas based to discussions with the member states, because we see that these are certainly 4 areas where we are encouraging member states now setting up capability coalitions. But of course it's possible if member states see that there's also other critical areas that they want to now join their efforts in the next months. It's of course possible also.
Thank you very much. Maria.
Hello, Maria Psara with Cyprus Public TV. The question is for HRVP. I'm wondering how this project will work for the members of the European members that are not members of NATO. For example, the drones wall or the air defense. If NATO has the responsibility of the operation part, then why a member state that is not a member of NATO invest so much money on it when at the end it won't have any say on how to cooperate the instrument? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, the feedback what we got when we were working out the roadmap from the member states was that first, the drone wall was about the eastern flank. But then member states who are not on the eastern flank said that, but the drones could come from the sea. I mean, the ships and everybody is in danger. So we actually need this drone defense for everybody, which is why we changed the concept also in this paper. Now, when I'm saying that we work in close coordination with NATO is meaning that we don't do anything double. We are working with them on the areas where they already have plans, and I think all those countries who are not members of NATO very much fit in here, because what also Commissioner Kubilius said, the drone defense has different elements. It has sensors, it has interceptor drones, it has different layers, and this is when we talk about the countries who are in NATO, that is very clear. It is part of their capability gaps, it's part of their military plans. But when we are talking about the countries who are not in NATO, then it is separate plans when it comes to really having the interceptors, having the sensors the same. So they're just not part of the military planning of NATO, but it doesn't mean that they don't need the defense regarding drones and the anti-drone systems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HRVP. Let's go to the back.
Thank you. Augustin Palokaj from Jutarnilic, Croatia. First question for Commissioner Kubilius. I guess you had a discussion last evening with the ministers from member states. How is their mood? Is there any country that is hesitant to support this ambition roadmap, which will cost a lot, because at NATO there were some hesitant countries? And second question, is Croatia part of any leading initiative? High Representative mentioned the Netherlands and Latvia, I think, on the drone issue. Is Croatia part of that as well? Thank you.
Well, on the first part, I have, yesterday it was quite a good conversation, rational conversation, and quite a unanimous understanding that, yes, we have challenges in our defense capabilities. We need to build them. It's, it's better to do that as much as we can in coordination with each other. And the European Union here does not replace, or European Union institutions were not replacing NATO and member states, both in their decision-making power, but also in their responsibilities to develop what is needed to be ready to defend and to deter. So the tasks are, as I said, huge. Member states understand. And as an example, I can say that, for example, the same safe loans, which 150 were subscribed billion euros were subscribed by 19 member states, and geographical distribution was very horizontal. Yes, Poland asked for the biggest amount of money, but then, you know, France, Italy, Hungary, Romania. Yesterday I was discussing exactly with Cyprus defense minister about their plans, where they will use safe loans. So that's, you know, it shows very clearly that there is really very strong understanding that we need to build European defense readiness in each European member state, and that is what we are going to do.
Yeah. On the lead nations, I don't have the papers here. It's a table of member states showing their interest, whether they want to be a lead in the 9 capability areas or participant states. But I mean, we can follow up on that. I don't remember it by heart. I know that participant states, definitely everybody is participating in the different coalitions and showing interest here. So I can come back on the very specific whether they are leading us or something, but I don't remember right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the front row. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Milda Velikanskite from Lithuanian National Radio and Television. I have a bit follow-up questions of my colleagues. Is this roadmap will be mandatory? Because we know that some NATO countries are reluctant to spend 2% of their GDP, when others, especially in the East, tries to spend 5 and even more. So will, I don't know, the Commission will monitor how all the countries goes with all this plan, this timetable, graphics, and etc. And what if they don't?
Thank you. HRVP.
Yes, it will be followed very carefully, and each year we shall present to the Council a special report on defense readiness progress and the problems which are starting to appear or disappear, let's say so. And that is an instrument for us, how to say, what I was saying, you know, to mobilize ourselves. Not to have such a situation that we have nice plans with clear, nice goals, but then, again, nothing is happening. Or, you know, it's somewhere lost in long discussions and so on and so on. So we had some kind of this experience earlier with different initiatives, different plans, how to coordinate our activities in defense. Not all of those, you know, initiatives were very successful. So we are learning lessons from our own experience, and we need to be ready to learn very quickly if something will not move. That is why, again and again, I can stress what I said. I see this process as learning by doing. Learning by doing. It means we are moving ahead, but if we shall see that something is not working, we need to look what are the reasons and what we need to change really to have the progress. Because the price not to have the progress can be very, very painful.
To add to that, President of the Commission and I got the clear tasking from the European Council, I mean the leaders level, after we presented the white paper on defence readiness, to have a clear roadmap how we get there. And that's why this roadmap is having clear objectives, clear deadlines and clear monitoring as well. Of course, it is up to the Member States finally, because the Member States are in driving seat, but it clearly helps them to achieve these goals, to also do things together. And if we have the monitoring, then it's also showing who does what and where we have still, you know, gaps, what to fill. So it is to help to fill the task also for NATO.
Jarno, please.
Thank you. Jarno Hartikainen, Helsingin Sanomat. Question to EVP Virkkunen, if I may. I'd like to come back to the aspect of solidarity that Andrew earlier picked on already. As you know, many member states on the eastern flank are calling for solidarity in the financing of these initiatives. And now what we hear from the podium is they can use SAFE, they can reallocate some of the RRF money. By the way, that money has been mostly allocated to the southern member states. So once again to the Vice President, what is the element of solidarity in the package that you are presenting today?
Yes, we clearly, of course, see that we must invest much more to defence than we have done in the European level. And when we look now, the member states, they are investing and using to defence almost 400 billion in this year. And if, of course, if we are comparing it to European Union's annual budget, we see that it's the whole our annual budget what they are using to their military. So, of course. It's important also that we can support via EU budget, but the current MFF, it's not prepared for that so well, as we know. And that is the reason also why Commission, when we proposed the next MFF, we were proposing to use 5 times more funding for military and defence, and also 10 times more to military mobility, for example, because we see that this is a clear priority for the next years in the European Union to make sure also that we can support with our budget those member states who need to invest more to security and defence. But in spring, when we proposed our defence white paper, then we also proposed a package for the next year, so 800 billion more funding via flexibilities, and then also with the safe loan. And of course we are also trying to use all the possibilities we have inside our MFF, in the current MFF, but we know also that there is not so much flexibilities, and also it wasn't prepared for that kind of situation where we are. So first we were facing COVID pandemic, and after that full-scale war in Ukraine. So we are using all the flexibilities we have in our MFF, and of course now when we are calling member states to create and set up these capability coalitions, we will also see more clearly in the coming months what kind of support and instruments are needed to support the actions.
May I add just a few words now? First of all, if you will look into the list of flagship projects, you will see that one project is really exactly devoted to that region, Eastern Flank Watch. And we hear from southern countries complaints, where is Mediterranean region? And definitely we need to take care about all the challenges and all the possible threats. But Northern Eastern region really has very specific flagship project, which shows that the European Union is not, forgetting about the threats which this region is facing. And what does it mean, flagship project? It means that it will be possibility to use new instruments which are coming also at the moment almost. We shall have maybe today final negotiations on EDIP. EDIP is European Defence Industry Programme regulation, and we are coming with new industrial policy instruments, for example, possibility to have so-called DPCIs, European Defence Projects of Common Interest, with additional possibilities and to look for additional finances and so on. So there are a lot of possibilities which we shall see how they can be used. And definitely, political will to support the countries which are facing the biggest threats is very clear, including also not only from military point of view, but also socially and economically. Vice President Fico is preparing special pact on Eastern frontier countries, economical and social issues. I don't remember exactly the title, but that is, again, very clear evidence that Commission is taking care about those countries, those regions which are facing biggest threats.
Thank you. Vitaly, to close.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov, Freedom. As I understood from all documents that I got, Ukraine now will have possibility to join of coalition of capabilities, if I'm correct. How you see this membership of Ukraine? Is just consultation, or Ukraine could be like equal member or some member with restriction right? How you see it? Thank you. And which coalition could join Ukraine?
On this one.
As I said, we have so much to learn from Ukraine, and it really works as a win-win. We have the defense. I'm just checking whether this name is right, but the Defense Industry Alliance. We have the Drone Alliance, where we are working together with Ukraine, because there we have so much to learn from what they have already done. We don't have to invent the wheel. The wheel has already been invented when it comes to the drone defense. And then we have this already in Ukraine, and that's why we are exploring the possibilities there firsthand.
Yeah, we see it already now and also in the future that Ukraine is and will be the really defense industrial powerhouse of the European Union. They have been very innovative and very effective in their actions. And like HRVP said, that we have so much to learn from Ukraine, and especially, of course, I'm looking at this European drone defense initiative, where we see, of course, that Ukraine's participation would be very crucial. Like Kaja said, we have also proposed this drone alliance to Ukraine to really also cooperate in this area, because we know that they have been very effective here and very innovative, and this is exactly an area where we have to build our own capacities in the European Union, drone and anti-drone systems. So this is, for example, one very important concrete project, but they are welcome, of course, to come to all our capability coalitions.
This closes this press conference. Thank you very much, EVP, HRVP, and Commissioner, and have a good afternoon.